Morning. It's Thursday, it's 5 to 10, and it's Crackershack. Well, part 2. So welcome to the SHAC. Safe, happy and creative. Stay home and craft. And my name's Barbara Gray from Clarity Stamp, and we're going to keep each other company for an hour. We're going to cracker on with those crackers that we started last week. And Jilly's in the building with us today because Paul's on television at 11 o'clock up at the craft store. So he's busily getting ready up there. And lovely Jilly, my darling friend, is going to be keeping you company in the room. Now, I'm hoping that you can hear me and you can see me. Is it working? I wonder if anybody could let me know. Yep. Good morning. I can just see my eyesight. I can just see people there. Good. So I'm assuming that the sound is good because I tweaked that. And I'm assuming that the picture is good because I tweaked that. If it's a bit ropey, then head on over to Clarity Stamp YouTube and you'll find that we're also streaming there. And often the quality is more reliable and better there. Okay. But we love Facebook. So we're not going to say anything bad about Facebook. They've got their own problems at the moment without us adding to it. Come on in. It's time for Crackershack. I've been a bit busy, so I have a confession to make. I didn't actually finish my good people on the cracker, but then I thought, you know, my friends will understand. I think I put the wrong cream on my hands as well. It's whilst Occitan is very good, it's also very greasy. Yeah, never mind. It's made in France. It must be good. Dry skin and cream. Right. Okay, come on in. Stop taking the mickey, Barb. Have you got your cup of tea? Are you ready to rock and roll? Is Jilly there? Could she give me a text just to let me know? Because I can't find my long distance glasses, so I can't see. Sound is good. She's in the building. Morning, Jilly. We're all really busy at the moment at Clarity Towers because the retreats, the Clarity Parchment retreats, begin next week. So there's a lot of preparation getting all ready for our friends and guests that are coming down to Tunbridge Wells to the spa. It's a big event. It's a big event in the Clarity calendar, and we've certainly got something fantastic lined up for those ladies and gents. There are gentlemen, aren't there, Ken? You're going to be there. So let me just wipe my hands clean. Get rid of some of the oil, and then we can cracker on. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about with the crackers, let me refresh your memory, shall I? Okay. So what we did was we took our good people. Do you remember them? Let's have a look, because it all started when we doodled it last year. We did it together. And then this is quite a phenomenon, you know, with these little fellas. So what we did was we made them into stamps. Do you remember these guys? Look, I'll show you. Do you remember them? So we made them into stamps, and then we added a little stamp set, and we gave that one away free. So this little girlie and the Happy Christmas, Noel, Peace and Joy, this little Live Good girl, she's a gift if you get those ones. So loads of you have got these stamps, and the reason I mention it is because we are doing a Christmas party in November. We're going to have a Christmas craft along party in November, and there will be a lot of this. It's going to be a good celebration, and so if you haven't got these, then yeah, they're really worth having. I tell you what, mine is starting to look well loved because look, what's interesting, you can see it's all the little pieces that are so cool to use. See all the little bits that I'm using? Look, see where they're all changing colour. It's because they're well loved. Oh, I haven't got the snowflakes out on her yet though, but I will. I'll get there. See, so when you use, the thing is, with the stamps, you can use little stamps. I want to show you this. See these two little, I'll show you this. If I come in tighter. Right, now, have a look at the stamps. So you see these two little stamps. See, they're using, that's how I've made the tree. And then if you take the heart here, the heart, you've got an outline and an innie and an outie. That's how I've made fill the sections between the triangles, you see. We'll do this, and then the peace and love, look, that comes from there, and then I just made a little box. You understand. And the star comes from up there. So it's interesting how you can look, let's have a look at this. It's a real quilt. Jilly will appreciate this. Jilly, for our wedding, she made us the most glorious quilt, and it's on our bed. It is the most beautiful thing. So every morning, Jilly, when I open my eyes, I think of you. I do, because it's glorious. But what's interesting is these little stamps up here that Lucy added to our good people. Look, you can see how you could take that one there and then alternate. So you make like there. And then you've got boxes, open boxes. So for example, let's see the stage. See, so now I've taken that one and I've stamped these. Now I've got these boxes open. So then I've taken this one here and I've filled the boxes. You see? It's cool, isn't it? And then the hearts, see the little hearts inside here? That's that tiny little heart there. And then you just dot them in. I just think this is lovely. So good to use. Now here's one. I got a little bit carried away, but I tell you what, I love it. And these little look, they make coasters. What a nice, like if this could be the back of the coaster. These are those coasters that we sell these. These are Pergamano coasters. See? And these little, this is, what would this be? 4x4? 3.5 by 3.5? Let's have a little look. And then I'll tell you. What is this? Yeah, 3.5 by 3.5. Well, that's handy, because I'll tell you what that is. I'll tell you what that is. That is a piece of our stencil card cut into quarters. There you go. And it fits in the, that's cool. It fits straight into the coaster. That's quite nice, you know, for a funky coaster for Christmas, isn't it, on the coffee table? Easy. And you could do them all different, because you can use the star, just that quilting idea, like just take put a Jilly hat on and make a quilted coaster. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Or let's see the size. Let's check something out. If I take that coaster, what about if not that I'm going to cut up my crackers, but oh, look. Oh my goodness. Look, two of these little fellas. Ah, well, before we cut the crackers up, because we're going to go to those, how about the postcard? Because this is where it all starts. So we've got this set. This is the SHAC set. So we've got 12 crackers. That's what we were working on, hence Crackershack. And we've got 12 postcards. And the 12 postcards, right, so we don't have to, let's just check this out. Here's the postcard. You see, you look at that box and you think that they must all be coloured. They aren't. Inside the postcard, we've given you one coloured one for inspiration, but here we go. So that, if I'm not mistaken, this is exactly the same size. It is. Hey, so that means that I can take one of these postcards. Look, if I wanted to, I could chop it up. Yeah. Do you know? Nice. Not that you need to chop it up, you can stamp it. But how cool is this? So there are loads of possibilities, you see. So with the postcards, you get the coloured one, and then you get 4 of those, the triage, and then you get the new little girl and the little individual ones, you see. So you get the group of friends, the original trio, and then you get 2 of each of the little guys and the little happy girls. Nice, eh? Yeah, so there you go. 12 postcards, 12 crackers, 12 quid. Bargain. And the crackers, this is what I showed you last week, right? Been busy. Look, do not throw your loo roll cores away. The logs. That's a terrible word. Don't throw the logs away. That's what this is called. Let's call it the core. Okay, let's not throw the cores of the loo rolls away, because they sit perfectly. Look, I've got one for all family. And the way that they work, look, I'll show you. Let's get rid of this stuff. I need to travel gently today. Today is a day where Barbara travels gently. It's been quite a challenging week, and I think usually when my head's all over the place, many of you are going through it too. So that's why we're not going to stress. This is the whole purpose of the SHAC. Do you remember? Safe, happy and creative, keeping each other company, leaving it all out there and just focusing on what we're doing. Chatting. Talking nonsense? No, not always. Sometimes we talk a lot of sense, don't we? So let's have a look. And this is the way the cracker works. So you loo roll, you log, right? You attach it here. And then this is on the inside. The glue's always on the inside. Don't put any glue on the outside. That'd be a shame. Of course, hang on a minute. You're going to colour it in first. You're going to do your masterpiece, your mastery and your colouring first. So we'll have a look at the flat ones in a minute. I'm just showing you how you actually construct it. So then you take your glue runner, and then we sell these, by the way. It's even got our name on it. Right, so you run this, I've run it down this one several times now, there on the inside and there on the inside, and you're trying to get as close to the edge as possible. Right, and then you flick the lid back on. That's why we like these, because the lids are attached. Right, and then what you do is you roll, see, so you roll like so. Get rid of your hair, Gray. And then you tuck in the top bit so that these bits overlap like that, right? Squish. And then come down this one and then get to that one as well so that they overlap. Like, hang on. Thing about this glue is as well, the tape runner, you've got a little bit of wiggle room. You can peel it off again and reposition it if you're not completely sure that you've done it right. See, so then that now is the top. And then once you're happy with that, then you can press down on that edge, right? Press. And then these bits get tied up. So you tie one end up. We've got ribbon. Look, for ones that, I mean, if you're a crafter, you've got a stash of ribbon like no other. But we do sell these multiple colours. So if you're going bright and beautiful, then these are good, these satin ribbons, good price as well. And then all you do is you take your, let's tie up the bottom end, for example. So you take a length of ribbon that matches the colours that you're going to colour in, all right? And then you just, there you go, tie it up like that. Fill your present in there. And don't take your log out, don't take your loo roll out, because that holds it all lovely and makes it secure. Then put whatever your little goodies are or what you want to use in there. If you want to buy these snaps, you know, the bangers, you just pop that in as well. You can get these on Amazon. They're cheap as chips. We're not allowed to sell them to you because they're explosives. So there we are. But that's the whole principle. That's the construction. So I think for people like us who are makers, you know, we make things. Julie makes quilts. Julie's an all-round great crafter. Paul's great, stamping, Pergamano, Linda Williams, me. Everybody in this room, anybody that's watching, we know, don't we, that crafting is a therapy. And there's nothing quite like, making something. It's not just, for me, it's not just when you're making it that you are in it and enjoying it. It's the time you're spending thinking about the recipient, you know, and the energy that you're pouring into it, that you're then going to give to the recipient. And then when the recipient, you know, the grateful recipient receives it, they are not only impressed with your crafting skills, but that you would spend that kind of time on them. That makes them feel special at another level, you see. So there you go. I always think that when I get a handmade card, or I make, you know, so many of you send me beautiful cards, and I sit and think, oh, that person must think a lot of me to spend that time to make me something. It's good. That is a good feeling, isn't it? Right, so I mustn't lose all this lot because that's ready for our party. It's my mum's birthday today, 14th of October, 84 years old. So when we're finished here, I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to head over to visit my mum and take her out for the afternoon. So that's what I'm up to this afternoon. What about you? You got anything nice lined up? I guess the trick is to try and make your day good. You know, come up with something that will give you pleasure. Do something. Just do it. You know, Dave always says JFDI, which means just do it. And sometimes I find I get into a kind of a slump where I can't be bothered, you know, and I think, I can't be bothered to go for a walk. Can't be bothered to do that. Can't be bothered. Siebes, the kids called it. Can't be bothered. Siebes. Whatever. But I have to just give myself a kick up the proverbial and just do it. And then I feel so much better for it. Right, let's have a look at these crackers. Crackershack. Right, Leslie Crowther. Who remembers Leslie Crowther? So these are wonderful crackers. Let's have a look. I'm going to pan out a little bit so that you can see them better. There we are. Let's have a look. Okay. You see that? Wonderful crackers. Let's start with this one. This is D Paramore. Lovely. Do you remember last week I was showing you how to do that bling, adding a little bit of mica powder? That's really cool. Cool. Colorways. This one is Elaine Milner. Nice. Just light. Right. Elaine's obviously got a lot of people coming to dinner, so she's not going to spend as much time. And you can make them quite quickly, you know. This is all in blue. Doesn't that look pretty? This one's Jane Telford. I know that because of Colin. This is Jane as well. There we are. So she's added a little bit of... Oh, I added a bit of bling to hers by putting some of the perfect pearls on the top. Do you remember last week? Look, you can see the bling. Just by adding some diluted... Add a bit of water to the perfect pearl. I've had a clear up in here. That's deadly. Oh no, here it is. There, perfect pearls. A little bit of water on a mix mat over the top. If you've used the B pencils from the Pergoliners or your polychromos, then of course they won't react to water, so the colour stays underneath. That was the whole idea. This is a glorious one again. Look at the shading by D. Look at that. I'm going to. I think that's what we're going to focus on a little bit today. Is on getting some of that shading. Isn't that fab? Isn't that lovely? Let's have a look at the border because that's worth... Yeah, we need to check out the colours of the borders. We haven't looked at the borders. Let's have a look at the borders. Nice. Hey? Nice borders. Jane's coloured the whole... I bet she did that with a brush. Cool, look at that. How bright. I tell you what, you wouldn't throw these away, would you? Look at that one. If that's not a Jane Telford one, well, I'll eat my hat. The pink lady's in town. It's party time. And this is the one that we were looking at, isn't it? So I think that we'll continue with this one. Okay? That's a good idea. Because you look at that and you think, how am I ever going to get that depth of colour? That's what I thought this morning at 7 o'clock. How am I ever going to get that depth of colour before 9 o'clock? And then I persevered. I pursued it. And you know what? I got that depth of colour. So I want to share that with you because I think that's what happens. Do we get impatient? Is that what happens? We think, oh, hang on a minute, I've got 12 people coming for a turkey and I'm still fiddling with the cracker number 1. Don't worry about it. Look on this cracker as very, very, very inexpensive therapy because that is exactly what it is for me at the moment. Very inexpensive therapy. I'll explain more. Jilly's just sent me a message. Jane Greenock became a grandma again this morning. Congratulations. I hope that the baby and the mummy are well and safe and happy. Congratulations, Jane and the family. Isn't that great? Now, let's have a think. What we're going to do. Have you got your cracker? Shall we do a little bit of doodling? Let's have a cup of tea. Let's have a cup of tea first. travelling gently through Thursday, the 14th of October. You rock. We have to. We have to. We have no alternative. Oh, we could go mad. There is that, but I don't think we want to go that way. So let's have a look. That's where we're headed, and that's where we're at. But look, I got the depth, and I want to share that with you. And I've been experimenting. So I thought the best thing to do would be to just show you some tricks and tips, and then we'll just continue on with these guys. And then this is quite straightforward, but we'll do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, okay? And we'll keep referring back to Dee's masterpiece. I think that's always good to have that there, isn't it? Hey, so what pencils are we using? Well, I'm using polychromos, Faber-Castell, the best in the business. That's my opinion. I've been involved with Faber-Castell at so many different levels for so many different years, and I still maintain that they are the most beautiful pencils in the world. I've never found anything to top them anyway. And also I have a loyalty to the family. So there you go. And what I'm going to do is take a white one. If you're using pergoliners, I've got loyalty to them as well because I own the company. But I'm using the polychromos today. But the white B pencils, here we go. These ones here, the B pencils, they're all mixed up because they fell out of the box. The B pencils are the same as the polychroma, not the same type of pencil. There we go. So the first thing I want to do is if I use a B pencil and we want to make these white, they want to stay white. So the best thing to do is to just add, do you remember we've done this before when we've coloured in? And you use the white like a kind of a block. So I'm just, it almost behaves like a resist, you know, there. So where you want white, just put a bit of white like that, okay? And then what you'll find is, I'm not saying whiz all over it, but it will protect it. So what I've done here, I've taken, for example, the reds that I used. I tell you what, actually, sometimes too much choice is a monkey, you know, because with the Faber-Castell pencil, I've got so many reds that I got a bit indecision, you know, because you've got so many of them. And you think, whereas in the pergoliners, there's a couple, there's not so many. So it takes the choice out of it. And if you're one of those people that gets anxious around choice, then sometimes too much choice isn't a good thing. I find that anyway. So I've got my two reds and I've picked a couple of greens. That's the other thing. The olivey kind of green in the pergoline is beautiful. Okay, so I've got a couple of greens and I've got a couple of reds, and I'll take the red, and what I've already done is I've just established what's going to be red and what's going to be green. You see? So for example, her gloves are going to be red. So all I'm doing is just lightly introducing a little bit of the colour into the area. Then I don't have to think about it so much. Right, the scarf's going to be red. Different layers of red, but red nonetheless. Okay. So this is a bit of a recap really, because what we're doing is we're just putting the red down where we're going to be colouring red. Where else is red on here? I think that's it. And then once we've done that, then I'll take the green and I'll do the same thing. So now I'm going to go over where the green's going to be. Is that okay? Let me just take this out because my hands are still a little bit oily. Right, let's get a bit of, I've got a bit of card to test my colours as well. Right, and now I'm going to just start introducing the green in the area. So I'm using a sort of a flat, soft chisel. I flattened the nib, the pigment, so that it's not too sharp. I'll need it to be sharper when I start adding layers of colour. But for now, it's fine just to run over this with a green. Like this. I think her coat's going to be green. But her... should we make her buttons white? Let's have a look. Let's make those buttons white. Just protects them. Not this layer, but 3 or 4 layers down it will. So, anybody in the room that's coming on the retreat next week? Have we got anybody that's coming down to Kent? Come on, hands up. Who's coming down to Kent? Be interesting to know. I know that Ken will be. And I know if Josie's in the room, she's coming down. She's helping teach. And so is Hazel. And I know Jilly's going to be there. Be a good get-together. It'll be a good session. Especially when you see what we're doing. Linda's been knocking herself out. And Lynn Jackson as well, she'll be there. And Francis. Cool, they have been busy. When you see the artwork, oh, spectacular. These are red shoes. See, it's a lot easier if you just introduce the colour lightly first. Takes the ache out of it, doesn't it? These are green shoes. There you go. Nice. Is that a green cuff? According to Dee it is. I'm just copying what Dee's doing. See? Just copying it. So this is green as well. All right then. Let's do it. Green it is. I'll come in a bit tighter, shall I? Yeah, come on then. Come in a bit. Moving a little closer, baby. That'll do. Right. Yeah. Okay. And breathe. Hey, relax. Bit of green here. Bit of green here. You see, and you've got to concentrate. This is the whole point of this. This is why I called this, these are like little therapy crackers or therapy postcards. You know, these are little therapy sessions that we do, really. That's how I see these. And we learn do some art, get creative. I was talking to Dave he was saying about meditation this morning. We were on our cup of tea together. And I said, well, the thing about I can say it today. The thing about meditation, I'm not saying it's a waste of time. I'm really not. I think yoga is amazing, and if you can do it, but I haven't ever been able to relax into meditation, you know. So my meditation is art. Like I could sit for hours, literally hours, adding colour to these little fellas, you know. And while I'm doing that, I'm completely engrossed in what I'm doing, you know. So isn't that a form of meditation? Just to sit here and do this like this. Wouldn't you consider that to be meditation? Look, we're adding a little bit of colour now, a bit of depth. And all the time I'm doing this, I'm going in circular motions like this. Look, circular, like that. Just circular, gently, gently. When you go over in layers, you don't want to make stripes because it's difficult to get rid of the stripes. Having said that, though, if you're a bit heavy-handed, if you feel, because I'm almost levitating, I'm going so lightly over the top of the card that it really is just like a sheen, right? And what happens is, as I do this, we've done this before with the poppets when we've been colouring in. When I do this, if I get impatient, then it's almost like I've snapped out of my meditation. Suddenly I start looking at the finished article and I start thinking it needs to be finished because I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I've got to go to work and I've got to pay some bills and I've got to la 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 la, and then all of a sudden I've lost it. Not effective anymore. Not doing its job. Unless, of course, the job is just to produce a cracker. But you see, to me, that isn't what this is about. Of course, the result is a beautiful cracker, you know, and that is a feel-good factor. Of course it is. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. But when I'm doing this to get out of my head and get with my hands. And last year, you know how you knew what we were doing, and it was obvious why we were doing this together, you know. And here we are, crikey, 18 months on, are we? Let's get some depth on this hat now. I'm just going to stick with this green hat for a minute. Let's just get round here. So I need a bit of a sharper. See, if I've got a chisel, there are these things that we sell them as well. Where have I put mine? Just stay there a minute. This is what happens when you have a tidy up. You can't find anything anymore. Oh, here they are. All in a bunch. These sanders. These are what we use for sharpening our pencils. Okay, they're sanding blocks. They're good. And there are loads, look, this is maybe new to you, but can you see there are loads of little sandpaper strips on here, lots of them. There are, I don't know how many, but this will last you years, look. So what you do is, if you want to get a finer edge on here, rather than sharpen the pencil, because these are great pencils, why waste the pigment? What you do is you just, like, you can sharpen it on here. And then that way you've got your tip without having taken out half the pencil. You see, and now I can get in and I've got a really, I've got a point, so I can get in there. Yeah. So what was I saying? With the focus, when you're doing this, you're almost not touching the paper, and that's a skill in itself to avoid getting stripes, just general soft layers, right? But if you do get stripes, that's what I wanted to tell you. This is the thing about these polychromos and the Pergolina B pencils. If you feel that you've gone too heavy and you want to lift it off again, the Faber-Castell pencil, the pink one, it will, look, I'll show you. It takes it straight out again. If you feel, oh, I just overcooked this, I'll show you how you can look, I'll take it right back. I won't remove it all together because that would be taking out half the paper. But look how much I've lifted it. See? And then once I've done that, then I can go back with my soft pencil. Sometimes it helps if you go in at a different angle as well. See, if you catch a counter angle, see? And then suddenly you haven't got any stripes. Okay? And then, of course, once you've got enough layers down, then the next thing is your nibs. Your nibs. These are great. Ingenious. Blending nibs. We're still, don't ask. It's just the way it is. Acceptance is the key to any of these issues at the moment. But we do have the nibs, which is all you need. As long as you've got one of these, there you go. Then you can buy the nibs by the 100. See? And then that is what we're going to use to smooth out. This is the smoothing tool. So we'll do that later when we're happy with the layers that we've got. Everybody okay? We okay? Right, I've got my sharper green here. So now I'm travelling around my little white dots and I'm just adding another layer of depth to my hat. Yeah. Let's lean on that. So let's just put another layer of the lighter green. What green am I using? Or I've got 170, 168. It's a bit darker. Is it a bit darker? Yeah, I'm using a slightly lighter one. So let's just get in on that edge. Let's define the edge a little bit. And then once we've done that, there we go. Nice. And just, but because we put that white in the dots, it acts as a bit of a block really, which is great. There you go. So let's go in with our green. And what happens is you do this and then you think, this is going to take forever. And then when you relax into it, it actually starts to come together quite soon. Like we didn't have any green in the hat when we started. See? And so to me, it's a really good way to teach myself patience. And also it's the focus. Because I think, there you go, look. Let's do it. Let's do every other stripe now. Let's do it. Let's do a bit of striping, shall we? That's quite fun. So we'll do every other stripe on her coat. Because this is like the precursor to the borders as well. But let's just do this now. Right, this is the lighter stripe, I think. Don't matter really. So I think with everything that's going on at the moment in the world, I can feel a lot of anxiety. Not just me. I can feel it all around me. People are getting tetchy and troubled and anxious, and they're fretting and they're worrying, and you know, I know it's not just me. I know it's not. I just know it. So I started to figure out ways to curb it, because you can't just say, oh well, it is what it is. I don't know it is what it is, but I don't want to spend my life being unhappy because it is what it is. You know, still got to find a solution around this, haven't we? And that's the thing. All the time I'm focused. Let's take a darker green, not too dark. Let's take that next number down. Let's add a bit of shadow through here. See if that, oh yeah, that looks good. Bit of shadow underneath. If you think about it, right, you got two amazing gifts as a human being. Really amazing gifts that we really do cherish. One is memory, right? Because we remember, don't we? Some people remember more than others, you know. Some of us have an amazing memory. And the other thing is imagination. Some people have a more vivid imagination than others. Creative people tend to have strong imaginations. But the thing is, see, we're putting a little bit of shadow over here now. Should I come in a little bit tighter? Because we're going to concentrate on the green. Let's concentrate on the green. It's a good colour. It's a good colour. So you've got two human, unique to human, well, not unique, animals, I'm sure they got imaginations and memories. I know they got memories, that's for sure. Let's add a bit of shadow around here. So you've got memory and you've got imagination. And they can work against you right now. They're working against me because my memory keeps dragging me into the back, into the past, right? It won't let me forget anything. And it keeps bringing up things from the past, which make me anxious and also take me away from what I'm doing here. Like, okay, so in a nutshell, my memory forces me to think about the past, and my imagination my very furtive imagination keeps projecting and taking me to the future, right? So I'm either in the past or in the future. But I'm not here when I'm doing that. When I'm thinking about what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going, you can, you know, and I keep making these films up in my head. My imagination, right, is making that happen. But it's not real. It's not real, is it? What I'm making up in my head with my imagination is a story. I could write it down, bind it, sell it. Okay. Some of them are pretty good. They are. Like, wow. Yeah. Some of them will be bestsellers, I can tell you. The point being that it prevents me from being in the now, that mindful thing. And let's face it, the only reality is now. Like at the moment, the only reality is that you and I are hanging out together, colouring in a couple of crackers. That is the reality, isn't it? And everything else isn't. And that's bad English. Nothing else is. Do you see what I mean? So the cracker now is my vehicle to train my brain to stop using the memory. And memory is great for lots of things, but not if you turn it into an anxiety machine, and it can be done so easily, right? So if you, I'm trying to put a couple of folds in here. Let's have a look. See here, there's a little bit of a fold. Let's make this go around like that. There you go. Here's another fold as well. So there's the light's coming from here. So we'll put a little bit of green there, like that. Bring it down around there as well. So I've been trying to teach myself to I know we always keep saying, hey, you know, got to stay in the now, be mindful. Well, that's easier said than done. And as your anxiety levels keep spiking, so you'll find that they go hand in hand with your memory. It's your memory and your imagination. Those are the two things that are spiking anxiety. That's what I figured out. And so if I can harness my imagination and plow it into art, bingo. If I can harness my imagination and plow it into a pottery and stay with my hands, you see, then all the time I'm doing that, this is how I've worked it out. That means then I'm not letting my imagination run riot and just start, it's like an imp. It just wants to tell me shit that isn't true. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. It wants to tell me things that just aren't real. And it has fun, you know. I have a very furtive imagination. It's like a little fella on my shoulder going, yeah, guess what? It's rubbish. Most of it's absolute rubbish. Yeah. But my imagination is wonderful if I can control it and harness it. Does any of that make any sense? It does to me. It does to me. And I feel a lot happier knowing, you know, because I think that's half of it is sometimes we think, what is wrong with me? Why am I so unhappy? I wake up tired, you know. Well, I can only speak for myself, but I'm just I'm an average bird, you know. So I can assume, and I always do assume, that if I feel like that, so do a lot of other people. It's always going to be that way. I'm not special and different. See, so what I'm trying to do is make some folds here just by adding a little bit of, no, I'm not special and different. So if I feel like this, so do lots of people. Not everybody. Not everybody, of course. Not everybody likes cheese. Not everybody likes Marmite. We're different in that regard. There, doesn't that look nice? Hey? So we've got our shading going now. And we've really, now I could press a little bit harder. See? Just get that edge and then feather it out. Can you see around the edge like that? This is when it starts to get dimensional. And if you're sitting here thinking, how am I going to make 12 crackers at this rate? Well, do you know what? Don't. Make 1. Then make 2. Don't set yourself a stressful task. It depends. I guess it depends. Depends what you want to do. For me, I mean, it's only October. Look, doesn't that look lovely? It's only October. Got plenty of time. I like that. Cool, it's very quiet in here today. Come over here and do a bit of green on his hat now. I'm in the green mood. So we want to get a bit of depth there now. So we're going to come in here. Are you okay with all this? Is anybody there apart from me? There we go. See, now I'm concentrating on what I'm doing. And I know I've said this before. But I can't concentrate on what I'm doing and focus on shading and where the green's going to be and where the green's going to be darker. I cannot do that and think about stuff. Let's just call everything that's going on that's freaking us out stuff, right? There. Cool. I like this. I like this. And I think that's the other thing about this kind of artwork, because it's very doable, isn't it? It's if I can do it, you can do it. You just inject a bit of time into it, you'll see. It's just the time. If you say, well, mine looks like rubbish, I would say that will be because you rushed it, or you got impatient with it, same thing. Or you pressed too hard because you wanted to get it done quickly, which is the same thing as rushing it. But if you stop and you look and you think, yeah, I can do a bit more there. I'm going to put a bit more depth there. See how smooth and dark it's getting, where I keep adding another layer. You see? Yeah. Yeah, I do have I do have an imagination. So do lots of us, don't we? All human beings have imagination. We do indeed. But I don't watch horror films. I don't do horror. I don't do psycho. I don't do, I don't. I just, because it freaks me out. It does. It's not, I live it. It's not something I can just watch. My mum always says, there's a cameraman standing there. It's not real. But when I'm watching a real psycho film, I'm in it. I'm like, oh, I spend more time running out of the room going, I can't handle this. More and more I find now, I waste time trying to watch a film. And then I run out of the room because I can't handle, because my imagination, he's gone berserk, right? So I'm like, no, can't stand it, can't watch this. I ran out of the room, I go in the kitchen, I'm like, and then I wait, I think, yeah, that's it. They will have mopped up and the body will be gone now. And I go back in and Dave's paused it for me. So don't pause it. I left for a reason. And I find that actually that's true. I don't know about you, but are you sensitive to films like that? Because I'm finding that's getting more acute, that situation. That's getting more acute with me. I'm building less and less tolerance. And my mum is right. I know she's right. I know when she says, there's a cameraman in the room, you know, I get it. But that doesn't make it any less violent or aggressive or frightening. It still makes all those emotions come to the front. Am I mad? Is it me? Don't like sad films. Don't like horror films. Don't like violent films. Don't like war films. I'm quite difficult to please when it comes to films. How about you? Well, this is nice. We can make a couple of pleats. As if it was velvet, huh? It's coming together, you see. Magic colour. Let me tell you a magic colour, right? Payne's grey. When we, like loads of you, when we started the SHAC, loads of you got the pergolines. Of course you did, because the price is great. You get so many pencils. I think there's 30 in the tin. 30 in a pack. And there's like 20 watercolour ones, isn't there? 36. So you get 36 in the box, right? So when I was encouraging people to get these, because the price is good. And we got loads of them in the cupboard. Okay. But you got 20 watercolour pencils and 16. They call them basic pencils. I call them blending pencils because that's what they really do well. Right. So you got those. Let me put them back like that because I do use them a lot, as you can see. But one thing I don't like about these, we inherited them. The thing I don't like about these is there's no grayscale. No grayscale. There's black and there's white, but there's no grey. Right? And remember, I have Faber-Castell. Since I was a kid, I've known Faber-Castell. I worked for them, I worked with them, I know the family, their friends. They're just beautiful people, beautiful pencils. There you go. And so I feel whenever I'm using Faber-Castell pencils, I have that energy from Stein, So pergoliners, no grey. So then what I did was I put together a set of grey pencils, grey and silver, the ones that you got them in the tin of 60. We've got these in stock. Tin of 60 is a good one to go for, right? Got a tin of 60. There's a good selection of grey in the bottom of that one, really good. But we put together a set of 12. Jilly, maybe you can flag it up. And the set of 12 is really good colours. It's like the colours that are missing out of the box of 60 and certainly not in the, it's like flesh, silver, greys, cream, a really lovely pink, light, fleshy pink colour. It's the colours that are not in there that you think, oh, like ivory, that sort of thing. Really nice. Anyway, I don't know off the top of my head, but there are 12 of them in a pack and they're so lovely. So if you have got the pergoliners or you've got other pencils and you want to pad out your greys, it's the Payne's greys in that pack as well. It's a really dark bluey sort of grey. But if you put it over other colours, it just, look, I'll show you. It's really cool. So what I've done here is I've gone in with Payne's grey over the top. Can you see this? And I'm just going in where the folds are here and where I think it should be darker. Before I go in with more layers of red, I'm putting an undercoat of this Payne's grey down because I think that's another good way of adding shade, is add it underneath the red. See, because it will blend nicely. You can put it on top, you put it underneath. It's entirely up to you. But I'm just going to show you an option here. Here you go. So, yeah, memory and imagination. I'm grateful for both of them. I really am. They define me. Memory and imagination are amazing. But that's what I'm trying to say. Given the external circumstances at the moment, if you've got, like me, a really a strong imagination and a good memory, then that can turn around and bite you. And once you realize that that's what's happening, that it isn't a reality, it's just your head playing with you, it's just messing with you, right? Then it's quite, and that's why we're colouring in crackers, because this is why I called it therapy at the beginning of the hour, because what it's doing is it's keeping my memory in a box, because I can't think about that while I'm doing this and doing it in the now, and it's keeping my film making imagination in a box, because I've got to concentrate on the Payne's grey and the green and the light green and the dark green, and you know, and people may say, why would you spend that amount of time doing this? And I would say, why do people spend hours sitting in fields with their legs crossed like that? You see, now me, I find it easier to meditate, if you like, switch off my head when I'm actually doing something with my hands. There's the thing. If I could sit on a rock with my legs, first of all, if I cross my legs for any amount of time, one, I can't cross my legs, and two, I'd never get up again. Okay, that's the first thing. So yoga for me has never been a real treat. And when I did go, they woke me up at the end, and I was lying on the mat, dribbling, fast asleep. And my friend Mags, she shook me. She said, the class is finished, Barbara. They've all gone. And I thought, oh my God, did I snore as well? So yeah, yoga, yeah, but no, and I can't cross my legs. So this is, for me, this is like my yoga. It works for me. There you go. And you got something really lovely to show for it afterwards. There you go. And the time thing, I speak a lot to Linda Williams. You know, she's a really, really, she's like my best mate, really, right? She's a good woman, very good woman. And she gets me as well, same as I get her. And, you know, when you listen to her and she's talking about parchment, and she's talking about, and then you do a bit of white work, and then you let it rest, and you leave it overnight. And we're all looking at her like, seriously? Overnight? And then she says you leave it overnight, and then you go again. And so a piece of artwork, it's like embroidery. Her parchment art is like embroidery. It takes weeks sometimes to finish it. But that's why when we look at her art, we go, it's exquisite. And it's because she's applied so much focus and time. And that's why she's so good, because she's applied so much time and focus to it. And really, what we're doing with our pencils is no different to what Linda does when she's stretching that parchment and stroking the parchment and changing the shades of grey, you know, because she does. It's like 50 Shades of Grey, isn't it, with Linda Williams? Way. And it's the days in between that she lets it rest and cool off before she goes again. I mean, at least with the pencils, we don't have to let it relax. You know what I'm talking about. Right, see, so I'm putting a bit of that Payne's grey, because that does, it's good stuff. Payne's grey. I like the paint as well. I like the Payne's grey paint. Right, so now let's have a look. So I'll take my red. Which red am I using here? I did write it down. 121 and 126. Okie dokie. 126 is a bit darker. So you see, so then I'll take my red and I'll go back in over the top of my Payne's grey. See how it changes? And I'll tell you what, I feel so chilled now. So that's the other thing. Yesterday I wrote a blog, barbaragrayblog.com, and I addressed this rising anxiety levels. I addressed these rising anxiety levels. I see it with my parents. I see it with my friends. I see it with my children. I see it. And I thought, I need to just stop and talk about it, and get it out where everyone can see it, you know, because I think that's the other thing, is that we isolate, don't we? Especially the men. Women are better at talking about it. I think women are better at, you know, discussing it and talking it through with friends. Sometimes men, they internalize this stuff, you know, which is not good for them. So I thought, right, do you know what? Let's get it out in the open where everybody can see it, and everybody knows that they're not alone, you know. I think it's important to talk about it and not brush it under the carpet and say, oh, you know, stiff upper lip, it'll all be fine. Could always be worse. Wah, wah, wah. Well, do you know what? It could always be worse. Absolutely. But don't dismiss my fears and don't dismiss my anxieties and say, oh, well, it is what it is. Well, do you know what? What is it then, if it is what it is? Gracie said that to me yesterday. She said, for somebody who says it is what it is a lot, she's talking about herself. She said, I'd like to know what it is. Yeah, very right. So without wanting to turn our SHAC into a miserable psycho session, it isn't that at all. It's exactly what I said. It's a wonderful way of getting together and thinking about what we're doing here, which takes us out of our very clever heads that would have us create dramas that aren't there, that haven't happened. Most of the stuff that we worry about never happens anyway, does it really? Let's face it. Hey? What breads am I using here? So I'm just traveling around my little good people here, layering up. Look how much depth I'm getting though, you know? And I've had a nice chat. I feel so chilled. I do. I feel so chilled. I hope you do too. When are we going to get together again? Right, well, next week, my friends, I'm afraid Paul won't be. We've got the retreats for 4 days. 4 days. Yeah, I know. Busy. So there won't be a Groovy Tuesday because Paul is teaching with me. And there won't be a SHAC next Thursday because I am teaching with Paul. So don't forget, though, at 11 o'clock today, don't worry, though, what I wanted to say was the week after, which will be, let me see, if it's the 14th today, it'll be the 21st next Thursday, so it'll be the 28th. Is it the 28th, Jilly? Could you just check that for me? We'll be back in the SHAC on the 28th. I'm just checking. Well, Jilly is. Back in the SHAC on the 28th. And then, oh, this looks so nice, hey? But if you want to get it really, really deluxe velvet like that, look, I've still got a ways to go. Hours of therapy. But there are different levels of depth, you know. I want to get to this though. That's the challenge for me, is to get to that. And what's interesting is, you think I'm miles away, but it's only 1 or 2 more layers, and there I shall be, you know. 1 or 2 more layers, bit of Payne's grey. Payne's grey certainly it darkens up. See, what the Payne's grey does is it darkens up the edges. Any grey will do it. You could probably use an HB pencil, right? So it darkens up these edges, blackens it really, doesn't it? And then what you've already done actually is good enough in the middle where the light is. Just get in there. But my point is, red pencil numbers, please. 126 and 121, darling. And yes, Julie says it's the 28th. I was right. I hope that what I'm saying makes sense to somebody. If it just makes sense to one person, if there's one person out there freaking out about what's going on in the world, I know that there'll be more than one. Good grief. But if there's just one that has said, do you know, that's it. This is what I've got to do. See, I think once you locate the issue, and I've located it as being my memory and my imagination, which is all down to moi, is me, right? So once I know that, all I've got to do is go, I've got to start compartmentalizing in my head. I've got to go, fact, fantasy, easy. Is this a fact? Yes. Okay, well then it is what it is. It is what it is. And that's okay, because then I can just deal with it because it is a fact, and I can deal with it because it has to be dealt with. No point in procrastinating. Fantasy, leave it where it is. It's not worth worrying about because it doesn't exist. There you are. And thus endeth the Crackerjack lesson today. I hope you enjoyed that. It's 11 o'clock already. Can you believe it? Yep. And the people coming on the retreat, they're in for a proper treat. And on the 28th, please join me. Don't worry about just don't worry about bringing anything. I think we can't do the crackers a third time. Let's leave the crackers where they are. Just come with a pen and a piece of paper and we'll do some lovely doodling, because that also takes you out of your head and gets you with your hands, because you've got to concentrate on what you're doing. Perhaps I'll come up with a nice optical illusion. We like those, don't we? See what I can come up with. Something nice, something festive perhaps. Hey? Whatever it is, we'll be here at 10 o'clock on the 28th to keep you company. So thank you very much for joining us. Julie, thanks for your help. If you've got any questions, Julie's your person. Don't forget to head on over to the craft store. Paul's doing a brilliant show with our Pergamano templates. Very nice. Thanks very much. Stay safe and make something. Bye-bye, love. Bye-bye.